Today is Friday, March 29th, 2024, and it's an oil change Friday. So I'm headed to Valvoline Quick Oil Change to get my oil changed. I do this every 2 weeks. I've been doing this for about the past 5 years. And right now, in addition to oil changes every 2 weeks, every day before I drive for Uber, I top off the oil in this car. With it, like Valvoline Max Life oil, I can't find 0820, so like I get a Valvoline quick oil change, so I get 5 weight 20. That's the closest I can find to it. I don't think it really matters, but I do that. I've been doing that since the start of 2024, so like for the past 3 months I've been topping, or 4 months, I don't even know. I've been topping off the oil every day in this car, and I get the oil changed and the filter changed every 2 weeks. Because every time I press the button to start this car, I drive it personally and I drive it for Uber, so I need it to start up every single time. So that's why I change the oil every 2 weeks and top off the oil every day before I drive for Uber. I only accept long trips. Like yesterday, the 2 trips that I accepted, they were to, like, one was to Hillsborough County and the other one was to Largo, which is very north in Pinellas County, Florida. So that's why I take such good care of this car. So right now I'm headed to Valvoline Quick Oil Change on State Road 64 in Bradenton, get the oil and filter changed. So Valvoline Quick Oil Change is coming up on the right here, and it's the 29th of March, so I just never really know if I'm going to wait or not. If there's a wait, I don't care. I'll wait anyway. I don't even care. But there's usually not. I mean, it's usually pretty quick here. So we will see. Let's see. And there looks like there's only one car there right now. It's 12:11 p.m. So I'll pull up here and go exactly where they tell me to go. Here we go. It's 12:48 p.m. right now, and I'm just now going.
Is your sticker?
No, I don't need a sticker. And email the receipt, please.
I did.
Thank you.
Good to go.
Awesome. Thanks, dude. See you in 2 weeks. So I'll just go over here and write this out. Oil change Friday is done. So I don't have to come back here for 2 weeks, which is cool. So I'll just write this off and then I'll go driving for today. My name is Rideshare Sean. I've been a full-time Uber driver for over 5 years now. These are 5 tips for all rideshare drivers. Tip number 5, always maintain a clean vehicle. As clean as possible anyway. When I could afford it, I used to go to the car wash every single day and vacuum out my car once a week, no matter what. Whether or not I needed it, I would find things to vacuum out. Now I do it once a month at the car wash and weekly at home with a handheld vacuum that I purchased in 2018 using one of the Rideshare Guy links. Tip number 4, greet every passenger that gets in your car with a friendly sounding greeting. I also turn the radio down as soon as I notice that anyone is on the phone. I always do that. I do it when the phone rings, when I hear a phone ring. If they answer it, sometimes they let it go to voicemail, but if they answer it, I turn the radio down. Tip number 3, always find out exactly who is in your car that requested that trip and make a big deal about it. So whoever was the requester, and sometimes it's their brother or their husband or something like that, or their mother. As long as you find out where the tip and prospective rating is going to come from, and then direct everything and run every request by them. Like if somebody else in the car is like, okay, go here or drop me off first, I run that by the requester every time, and I make it known that they are in charge of the ride. Tip number 2 is always follow all the traffic laws as much as possible. This sounds very simple, and it's like I already knew that, but you'd be amazed. People think there's a separate set of laws for rideshare drivers, and there's not. So always follow all the traffic laws as much as possible, because everything applies to the driver of the vehicle at that time. So if the driver of the vehicle does any kind of an ordinance violation or anything, it all rolls up to them. It's their fault without question, no matter what. And tip number 1 is understand the entire Uber Pro program is a way for Uber to make money. Make sure that you understand that the only numbers or ratings that really matter is the driver rating, and that's it. So the cancellation rating and the acceptance rating, sure, Uber would like to keep them as high as possible, and they provide the Uber Pro program, so that drivers will try to keep their acceptance rate and cancellation rate within certain guidelines, and that does nothing but make money for Uber. Like my rating, I keep my driver rating high, but I've never taken part or in the Uber Pro program at all. I think that a driver should be able to decline and cancel a ride whenever they want for whatever reason they want. If you want to look at my rating, or you can see this at my website, ridesharedriver.blog. I have a thing up there, and it shows my driver rating is a 4.9%, and then my cancellation rating and my acceptance rate are way outside the Uber guidelines. They do not matter. All that matters is your driver rating, and that is it.
And the White House is urging the Senate to move swiftly on a bill that could ban TikTok in the U.S. or force its China-based owner to sell the app. The House passed the bill last week over concerns TikTok could pose a national security threat and give the Chinese government access to user data. And while the app isn't technically for sale right now, it already has potential buyers, including former Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin and Shark Tank star Kevin O'Leary. And Kevin joins me now with more on why he wants to buy TikTok. Kevin, it's always great to have you on, so thanks for coming on. Answer that question for me. Why do you want to buy TikTok?
170 million users. It's one of the largest networks on earth. It's used widely by entrepreneurs in America. You know, I support small business everywhere. That's on a bipartisan basis. And so there's so many examples of companies that tell their story on that platform. And they, in fact, create all the value because they spend about $9 billion a year promoting their products and services. It's young entrepreneurs in their 20s, 30s, and 40s trying to launch companies. And that's what I'm all about. So to me, it's a great fit.
Now, some lawmakers are concerned about the app spreading misinformation, harmful information, propaganda. How would you protect against that if you were to buy this company?
So think of it in two stacks. One is the 170 million users and the brand name TikTok. So that's valuable, but not that valuable if you don't get the algorithms which give you the preferences and history of those users. And so what's being proposed, at least it's being speculated, is that the algorithm is not for sale by DanceByte. That's a Chinese-controlled company. And the truth is everybody knows that this leaks data to the Chinese. This is a burner phone I have. That has TikTok on it. My real phone, I would never put TikTok on, and that's why we banned it in the government. Everybody knows this. In India, they had 200 million users on it, and they banned it because of this idea of cognitive warfare. I'm in agreement that we should not have a foreign adversary controlling the back door of the data. But at the same time, this is not unprecedented. Grindr was a service that when it was discovered the Chinese had their hooks into it, it was a forced sale. Same thing could happen here. And I must reiterate, this is a Shark Tank company. I want to point it out, WAD-free. It wouldn't exist without TikTok. And so there are hundreds of thousands of companies like this that I think are very important. So my whole role here is to take it from TikTok China to TikTok USA. I'm going to guarantee that we'll close the back doors. I'm going to have to rewrite the algorithm. I don't think it's worth $100 billion without the algorithm. I think it's more like $40 billion. And we're going to have to aggregate that. And the buying groups all know there's only 15 pools of capital that are going to fund this thing. We all know who they are. It's which management group can actually be the great steward of moving these users over to TikTok USA. I think I'm a tremendous advocate for this because 80% of them know who I am. And that's a huge advantage over all the other banking groups.
So what does TikTok USA look like compared to the TikTok we know today? How would it be different for users on this app?
Hopefully you wouldn't see a difference. If I'm successful in getting a team to rewrite the algorithm, you won't notice the difference. But that is not an easy task, and that's why the price has to reflect it. Unless the Chinese government is willing to sell the actual algorithm as part of the deal, but I highly think that's unlikely. Remember it this way. Do you think the U.S. could have an app like this in China? Never. They would never allow us to do this. You should think of TikTok as another network, just like ABC Network. Would China own ABC Network? Never. So we've got to put our foot down on this and shut them out of it. They're an adversary. We're in a competition with them. And this idea of cognitive warfare, well, it's realistic. If you let an adversary control the content of a major network in your country, what do you expect is going to happen? I think Congress is in the right direction on this deal. I'm a big believer in showing the stick to China. They do not have a level playing field. They shut all our apps down there. We do not have a level playing field on litigation. They use our courts to litigate us. We can't do the same there. I'm a big proponent of showing them what they understand, the stick. They like the stick. They want the stick. Let's give them the stick. Until they're fair with us, until we have a level playing field and we have reciprocal rights in every area of competition.
In terms of who should buy the apps, you say that you are the best person for this deal, among other reasons, because you are a household name, because people know you, they recognize you, they'd be more inclined to join. How do you compare you buying TikTok to Elon Musk buying Twitter?
I'm not going to let that happen here because obviously the Twitter situation valued at $42 billion is now worth 12 to 16. You lost 2/3 of your money. And that's the risk in the deal. The risk is not aggregating the syndicate to buy it. The risk is putting the right management team and stewardship on top of it to make sure it's not a Twitter situation. When they modified the algorithm, when they changed the way Twitter worked, it stopped growing. And look what happened to it. We can't have that happen here. That would be a very bad outcome. I'm not saying Twitter won't fix itself, but it's not worth $42 billion anymore. And I don't want my name associated with a 2/3 loser. That's a bad outcome for me. That's not my brand. I create value, not destroy it.
How do you see social media in the U.S. changing? What do you see as the future of social media here?
It continues to grow. It competes with network. It's the new form of how people get their news and information. We're streaming right now because our users on ABC are watching us on their devices, not just television. And you're doing the right thing here, obviously, and I care a lot about it because Shark Tank is born and bred on ABC. We're very, very proud of the platform we've created all around the world. But we have to be realistic about how people watch it. It's not just on network television anymore. It's across all of these multiple platforms, and TikTok is one of those. And so when I start to think about 170 million eyeballs, you can't find too many networks that command that kind of an audience. It's entertainment, but it's also a whole group, 5 million businesses that are entrepreneurs. We should support them in America, and the way we do it is we turn it from TikTok China into TikTok USA.
I'm out of time, but quick question. If this bill passes, President already said he would sign it. What happens if that happens and TikTok says they won't sell?
Then it'll happen the same way it happened in India. It'll just go dark, and it won't change anybody's life. those users will aggregate to other platforms and perhaps new ones, which I'll be part of. But I think the opportunity is to do the right thing and to make it an American product, the way it should be, because the Chinese would never let this happen in their country. And you think about all the people that have invested money in ByteDance already. 60% of them are foreign investors. They're very concerned because if they don't get a sale done, that just went to zero. That hurts.
All right. Kevin O'Leary, always interesting to hear from you. Thank you.
Take care.